Good evening, Miss April. How you doing this fine evening?
I'm great. How are you?
Great, great. I wanted to talk about the Kirk Franklin issues and stuff like that. What do you feel about that?
Well, um, I have personal feelings about it. Not whether Kirk Franklin did this or not, but just the fact that this should be a wake up call to adult child abuse. Many people in the black community seem to think that it's okay for a parent to curse out or degrade their child because as it's coming out, I've noticed that so many people grew up in such abusive homes. Me, myself, my parents never cursed us out or called us degrading names. However, I have seen firsthand personal experience with my own grandmother who used to curse out my mom, call her bad names, and wish, that she had not had her. And I see how that can affect a child at the age even of 30, 40, 50, even into my mother's 60s. The person is still the child and the parent is still the parent, and it's still very, very hurtful because if your parent doesn't think highly of you, then you begin to question your own worth. Um, so it's not whether I think I want to demean Kirk Franklin or agree with his son, but I'm noticing how people are more likely to believe that someone of a certain stature could not commit heinous acts, such as child abuse. But we as a society have to learn to stop idolizing these humans. They are not our gods. We unknowingly put these people in a godlike status to where they could do no wrong. Just because your parents brutalized you when you were growing up does not make it right. It's still wrong at the end of the day. Any parent cursing their child out, degrading them, and demeaning them, it is wrong no matter what. If your father punched you in the chest or your mother slapped you, it is wrong. It is abuse. Verbal abuse, emotional abuse, and mental abuse carry some heavy scars even into our adulthood. So people would say, oh, he's a grown man, he needs to go to therapy. But that's very dismissive to what he's saying occurred to him. You see what I'm saying? Um, and why do I understand people are saying, well, why do they talk about it when they're adults? They want their parents to acknowledge and affirm what they did to them. They really want the apology from that parent. But it becomes even more devastating when people around them who are not living in the home are like, oh no, that person couldn't have done it. They're such a nice person. But remember, everybody always have a public persona and no one really knows what goes on behind closed doors. None of us were Kirk Franklin's child. And also, there's this air of favoritism that can occur within a home where with my mother and my auntie, my mother was not the favorite, but my auntie was. My mother was cursed out, brutalized, and everything when she was growing up, whereas my auntie was coddled and pampered. There, it doesn't matter even between siblings their experience with their parents. So for me, this should be a deep and intense wake up call for the black community because some of the things that are consistent in what I've heard from people's responses is there's nothing to see here. That's just what black parents do. No, that's not what my black parents did. That's not what I do as a black parent. So no, black, and I took a personal offense to that statement because I am a black parent. I know I don't do that. My parents are black parents, and no, they don't do that. You know, so I really feel like we need to wake up and really listen to people who are hurting. No matter at the end of the day, the child is crying out for some reason. Something has occurred. We will never know the depths of what was occurring in his childhood because Kirk Franklin did not raise us. He raised Carry On Franklin. Carry On Franklin and Kirk Franklin's relationship is between those two, and we will never really know what occurred between them two while Kirk Franklin and Sean Ewing was raising Kerryon Franklin. So I feel really a lot of disgust too, especially coming from people I know who are just, make mocking the young boy, because one of the things that keeps victims silent is the thing, no one will believe you. And as we can see throughout this whole thing, most people are doubting his story, which goes to reconfirm and allow abusers to continue to abuse children, and they lay suffering in silence. So we really need to wake up and really take heed to all of this. So that's my response.
Wow, very enlightening. Thank you, Miss April.
You're welcome.